Hey guys, what's going on? It's Grubby Robber here, bringing you guys a new tutorial today. And as you can see by the title, it's going to be kind of like a knight, warrior, swordsman dude. You know, a typical cliche concepts that you see all over. This one will be kind of a little different. I don't know if I've done a tutorial from the sketch. From the start in that sense. So we'll kind of see how it goes. Usually I'm kind of a picky sketcher and I take a while on it, as I probably should. But yeah, I'll kind of explain. I'll try to walk through. This will be obviously a long tutorial. So hopefully you guys don't get too annoyed with my voice. But yeah, I'll make probably a couple different parts just because this one will probably be just like an hour as I start to kind of dive into values and whatnot. But I'll kind of try to do step by step. I may zone out and forget to talk. But yeah. So that being said, we're kind of going to dive right into this. I'm just kind of creating the first little bit of the pose. I'm trying to figure out how exactly I'm going to line this up. Do kind of the shoulders there. I'm going to do some kind of medieval armor. It's something that I really have wanted to get into learning how to do, is creating realistic looking armor. It's nothing I've been confident in, so bear with me, as it might not look the greatest off the start, but I'm going to try and render it for a while, and hopefully I'll kind of get something decent out of it. Let's see here. That part there. Kind of make this rough to start out with. As all sketches should be, you know, just kind of trying to work it in. Normally I have some music going, so this might be kind of hard for me. I mean, I've done other tutorials that are full length, but they're a little hard just because I am used to cranking some tunes, you know. I haven't really seen too much activity as far as people requesting tutorials. Like I've always said, I really would like some ideas on what you guys want to see, what you want me to do, you know. I'm really open to trying new tutorials, showing you guys some different techniques and whatnot. Figure out these planes here, just kind of playing around with that. And I'm just trying to figure out how I'm going to do this armor. Before I render too much, I just kind of need to figure out the outline. Sketching, I mean, believe it or not, is the most important part of any painting. I mean, if it's traditional, anything. Some people will tell you that they don't really sketch as much and that they just kind of dive right in. I mean, I've done that with some of my speed paintings and that, but your painting will actually really suffer if you don't have a solid sketch. And I've learned that the hard way. I mean, I'm totally guilty of that, of just diving right in and not having any clue where I'm going, and it really does show. My painting instructor used to always get really mad at me because I would always just jump right into a painting. She'd be like, "Taylor, what are you doing?" Because she was Russian, and she would just be upset that I didn't have a sketch. And yeah, I learned the hard way to always try and lay down some sort of sketch, whether it be a value sketch, some thumbnails, or a full-blown line drawing. That was a terrible Russian accent, by the way. You little comrade. I have this guy holding some sort of shield. I don't know if it's going to be a round shield or if I'll do like a tower. Or I've kind of gotten some inspiration from from Dark Souls 2. I've been playing that quite a bit. Anytime I'm not at work, I'm just grinding that game, and that's terrible placement. Jumping too far ahead of myself right now. Try not to render at all. I was just kind of blocking that in for the sketch here. I don't know how I want to do this helmet either. I kind of want to do some like weird looking plated helmet, but we'll see kind of how I'll go about doing that. I'm a fan of like feathered helmets, and they have weird little attachments on the top that don't really serve any point, but you know, they just look cool. Kind of have him turning and facing to his left. I don't know if maybe I should try facing the other way too. Sorry, I kind of zone out. I forget. So you do kind of a belt thing here. Oops. out how I'm going to do. I'm going to place this sword thing, kind of have it. Typical sword right there. This will look kind of rough. Stop worrying. It's a giant arm there. This is why I usually don't record the sketches, just because I end up redrawing stuff like half a billion times, and I feel like people get bored with this. To make some cool looking blade. I'm trying to go for a nice diagonal off of the off that sword there. I think it would just work for the composition. Hopefully, that's kind of what I'm envisioning. But I mean, everything's gonna change from the original sketch, so I'm gonna merge all of these down. I'll end up fixing that arm quite a bit, just because some of the proportions look wrong. So to fix the shoulder how I had it before, because originally it kind of made it for a different style pose. So I'm just kind of lifting that up. I plan on having some sort of chainmail stuff right in here. And just angles all wrong. Some rivet type things in here. I'm liking that pose or not. Yeah, we'll just go with it. Alright. I kind of got, a decent sketch down. Something I can work with. Normally, I'd probably refine this a little bit more, but I'm just going to go ahead and jump right into it. And I'm going to make the background kind of more of a neutral color. You can pick a color if you want to kind of tone it, but since I'll be working off of values right now, I'm just going to make it gray. I'll be only doing black and white to kind of start out with. Let's see if that looks right. His torso looks really small. So what I'm going to do is grab this right here, try shifting it over, and clean this up. Bring this back just a little bit. Just going to jump into the values a little bit. This would be on a new layer underneath this sketch layer. Gotta fix up this little bit of making that in a little bit more. Just that. All right, now I'll actually start in with these values a little bit. Since I'm mainly, I studied traditional painting. I kind of follow those guidelines. So right here, I'm going to start out with kind of doing the darks first, and then I'll work in these lighter areas. I'll go about doing this part. For background. I'm probably also going to make a sped up video of this painting, just for those who don't care for the tutorial and would rather just see the product really quick. Doing some darker values here. Not sure on what exactly I'm going to be doing for the background yet. But all right, now I'm gonna jump into the highlights. I can go pure white yet. This is the same layer underneath my sketch layer. And then after I'm done with this, I'll kind of jump in on a new layer above all of it. And then that's where kind of the painting will progress from there. Go back and adjust this a little bit more. I'll do the background last, just because that isn't the focus or anything. Alright, now I'm going to start a new layer up above night. Some people kind of jump right into rendering. I'm going to kind of doing that. I'll try and make it as work from different parts and detail it until I get bored, and then I'll kind of do a broader drawing. And I'll just jump back and forth all around. So I'm going to go ahead and dive, move some stuff around, dive right into this guy here. Let's see. In this painting, I'm going to try and make as many hard edges as possible, just because I want to make this a really dynamic piece. So if there's any smooth curves, I'll try and balance those out and make them a little harder. Like I said, I'm pretty new with the whole armor, so I'm sure I'll make some mistakes. But if you guys know any good tips or tutorials for myself, I mean, even that would be greatly appreciated. I'm always open to learn new techniques or anything. If you know of something that maybe I'm not using that would maybe come in handy, I'll give you a shout out or something and get your channel some views and whatnot. Smooth some of this out. And I do have a cool little brush that I had made that has like, it looks like it's 3 C's. And I can just brush back and forth and it creates like the perfect chainmail effect. And I'll show you that here in a second. Alright, so here's a cool little tip. I'll probably make, now that I think about it, I'll probably just make a video on this also. Just because it seems like a pretty helpful tool. Let's see here. Alright, I'm going to make a new layer and let's see if I can find it within my endless amount of brushes. Hopefully I still have it. I haven't used it in quite a while. Let's see. Come on, where is it? So many brushes now. I used to be able to just find it right away. Oh, there it is. Alright, so I'll kind of show you, see how I push that way, and if I pull that way, it goes the opposite. That will kind of create a cool little chainmail effect. So I'm going to kind of, I have a darker background, I'm going to choose a more neutral gray. This is on a new layer. I'm going to kind of just go back and forth. If I zoom out, you see that kind of looks like that nice texture there. Isn't that a cool little trick? And why I did it on a new layer is because I will actually go back and clipping mask over this chainmail, so that way I can add shading and highlight to it, because right now it just kind of looks like crap as being a big blob there. Alright, we'll go up here just in case. It's better to cover more, even if I'll be painting something else over this. So boom, we got our chainmail. Now I'm going to create a new layer over the chainmail, and then I'll choose, let's just choose like a soft, choose one of my softer brushes, and choose a very bright and then choose black. And put some shading around the edge there. I don't know why that blurred that. I'll dodge up a little these areas to really push some values out. And boom, got some chainmail in there. And just those tiny little details really help pull a painting out altogether. Alright, but yeah, cool little tip of the day. Let me get my brush back. to have most of the lighting coming from the back. The warrior's back, so kind of create a nice vibrant glow off of them. And also remember to vary the widths of your line work. Sometimes not even having it there, gradually getting into a much thicker line. All that's going to make it look a lot more dynamic. And kind of slowly start to see it coming together a little bit more and more. Just jumping around to continue to have fun with it. Don't make your paintings into work unless it is work. Which this actually is a commission job, but figured I'd make a tutorial out of it. But if you ever get, if you're getting bored with a certain area of the painting, you're not restricted to finishing the spot once you start it. So, I'm always jumping around a painting. Starting to kind of pull through a little bit more and more. I just realized it's almost 3:30, so that means kids are out of school and I can already start to hear them yelling. So I apologize if you hear some little kids. I swear I don't have any in my basement. Just kind of playing around these fun little details. Like I was saying, I'll go from big objects where it's just, kind of where you have to think about it, put strain on your brain when you're trying to work out like shapes of whatever, and then when you go to these little details, they're kind of just mindless, and it's quite relaxing after going from all the brain work where you have to think of how something's supposed to be angled and perspective and all that, but I like doing little details. Come on now. This is kind of a cool angle. Plating. Some more chainmail kind of drooping over here. Trainmail drooped, right? Hope so. Oh, I recently hit over 2,500 subscribers. Been gaining pretty quick. I'm actually quite surprised that people enjoy my videos. I've been loving all the comments, you know, so those always make me feel good inside. So if you guys ever want to leave anything, even if it's criticism, I'm always stoked to know that people are watching my videos, you know, taking time out of their day to actually hear what I have to say. Feels good. So, yeah, thanks for continuing to watch, you know. Slowly starting to come together. Shield seems kind of wimpy. I'm gonna maybe convert it into a tower shield. Seems a little bit more convincing, eh? Even though it probably would sit a little bit higher. Dragon Souls got me all corrupted. Alright, kids are getting a little crazy outside, so it's starting to get kind of loud. I apologize. Alright. So I'm going to try and make kind of this be the focal. Kind of either right in there or somewhere right in here. I'm going to try it for a little bit in that area. So what I'm going to want is the brightest white next to the darkest right there, so. I really hope those kids' voices don't show up in the video, which I'm sure they will because they are just screaming outside. Oh well. Alright, let's see. I'm gonna kind of, my shoulder piece is kind of sticking out a little too much, so I'm gonna try and it's a little bit darker. It's a little bit better. Kind of create some landscape back there. What I'll do occasionally is grab some of the background like brightness and create some atmosphere. With that sword tip, I'm just trying to kind of push it back just a little bit into the back there. When you get kind of those layers, it makes the painting look really nice if you, so like I have this part for example, and then if I push just like a little bit of it back, it gives it a nice atmospheric effect to it. And it's really simple. I mean, you can just do it in like one brush stroke, and just by covering up that little bit, just super easy. Adds quite a bit to the painting. Add like a little river stream thing. Maybe, I don't know, a little bit of highlight on a rock or something. Just gotta figure out how I'm gonna do this tower shield. What kind of pattern I'll have on it, but I'll think of that for later. Some like eagle or something, just kind of abstract shape there. A lot of times I'll just do like implied shapes on my paintings. Something that you so you just so like the viewer can kind of guess what it's supposed to be without it directly being an exact outline of what you're going for. Having that actually makes the paintings look very nice because it makes it more appealing to viewers, because it makes the viewer actually strive to either see what the artist had created, and it makes the viewer work a little bit, which you don't want to have a painting that just gives everything to the viewer, because that actually creates a very boring painting. So a lot of times if you have certain areas that kind of seem to blend together, those are going to be very powerful paintings and very powerful parts of the painting, where if a black kind of merges in with a black, you kind of lose a line or something. It's actually very nice. Wrist is kind of getting sore. About an hour in almost. Not too bad. Details are starting to kind of come out a little bit better. I'll put some like scratch marks in there, and those usually tend to be around where the highlighted area is. You can create the effect just by having a dark line and then obviously a highlight around it. Which kind of just implies that there was either like a cut or an indent, chip on that armor. Sometimes I'll use like a little like texture brush with the highlights. Kind of splattered around in there and get some messy effect off it. I'll show that a little bit down the road. That'll be for a little bit farther. Let's see here. All right. If you need, you can find some pretty good references. I mean, around like DeviantArt or even on Google for um, just for your typical like armor. So you can kind of have a reference, and then you start to build those images from memory, and you can remember where certain highlights were. Get some nice details. Just working on the details. Sorry, I kind of zoned out. Yeah, I'm just still working on these minor details, just doing the little highlights and whatnot. Probably doing more details than I should right now. But I love doing the details. I find it to be fun, so yeah. Still work on this helmet though, maybe. Figure out what I'm gonna do with this. Sorry, I'm just doing some editing on the video from before. You probably didn't catch that I had ended a little bit ago. Came back on it. Maybe you didn't notice. Let's see here. I'll have two major light sources. The brightest one is going to be the one. This will be like the main light sources right in the back here. And a second one would kind of be coming from the front of the night, but kind of from this angle. It won't be as bright, but it'll add some nice reflective light. Like I'll probably make this a different tint. I don't know if it's gonna be like orange or a blue tint or something that won't be the same as the background light that'll be coming in. It just gives it some nice contrast between the two. But colors I haven't really thought about or decided yet. So I'm just gonna keep playing around with this, and then if something kind of comes in my head, then maybe I'll quick throw it up there. If not, just play around with it a bit. What I want to do with this helmet. I don't always blend my brush strokes together. It really depends. Sometimes I like the look of actually seeing the stroke. Sometimes I want to clean it up. I don't know. It really depends on what mood I'm in. Most of the time I'll have like about 50-50. Using the same brush, but it kind of has, when you go larger, it has a nice texture to it. Throwing that over where some of the highlights are. Gives it that nice, like, warm metal look. Slowly chipping away. Try to remember your light sources. It's probably the most important thing. Knowing exactly where your lighting is coming from. I'm actually really having fun with this one. Think about, I'm going to do these gloves. I want them to be metal or leather. What I'm going to have this sword look like. So some mindless detailing back here. Kind of give my brain a little relaxation from building the armor. It's actually figuring out like how the armor is worn takes quite a toll on on my brain. And this brush, in case you guys are wondering, I did create a brush tutorial video kind of explaining the brushes that I use. I've been using just one brush, and I'm pretty sure I went over what this one is and then where you can find it. It's actually by the artist who goes by Darken, with 2 A's in his name. I provided the link in that brush setting video on where exactly you can find this brush at. It's definitely worth getting, just because, like I said, this is the only brush I've been using this past one, and it has such a wide variety of uses, from detailing to just the big brush strokes and getting nice texture. Just trying to get some chaotic flow going on back here. I just saved for the second time during this whole hour. That's very scary. Key thing, save often. A lot. I've had a lot of times where I've been so thankful that I've saved. Just because if my computer crashes or something happens, I only lost like the past maybe couple minutes. I usually try to save anytime I can think of it. Like that can, I mean, it's Command S for me, Control S, on PC, but anytime I can think of that, I save instantly. Just because I've had it happen where I lose a painting or a certain, I'll get really far into it, I'll get really into it, get some good ideas, and I'll lose it. Just from forgetting to save, which really is a bummer. So yeah, if you can remember. I always have my fingers just ready for that Command S often. I don't know if you guys can hear that truck backing up in the background, I'm sorry. hard to do without any music. I have to put some in. Create some straps. Also gonna put some chainmail in here. Also probably in here. Alright, let's put some chainmail in here. Shoot. Actually, forgot to create a new layer. So chainmail is done. Need to figure out how I want to do this glove / elbow. These things are always kind of a pain to do to get to look accurate. I don't really like the composition with that feather flowing in, and then if I do decide to go with like this spike on the sword, it just didn't look good. So I took that little feather thing out there. Just gotta figure out how I want to do this helmet. Kind of like a cool rhino point. Nice and sharp. loving this piece. It's a lot of fun. Just add some shading on that buckle looking thing, just some straps. Going with just a typical cliche pointed elbow guard thingy. Working my way up to the glove. A lot of people are scared of doing hands. Take this pole out. Kind of adding some shape to this arm. Didn't want to have just a black blob there. And I just remembered to save. And then even though we kind of did like the chainmail highlights with like just the clipping mask on it and dodging, I still like to come back and grab the brightest whites and kind of just add my own little highlights within there, and it really just makes the chainmail pop. Let me get just a bunch of those little highlights on there. It's fine details. I think I said fine details like 100 times this. Can bring it up a little bit more. Nice, nice. Gotta make it into some sick blade, you know? Keeps that no generic sword. Alright, I'm gonna pause the video. I'll be back to finish more of the recording. Alright, and I'm almost finished here with the initial value underpaint, I guess you could say. I'm kind of changing around how this little arm guard is. Just for the angle. Have my heater going in the background. Hopefully it's not too loud for you guys. It's a little cold up in here in Minnesota. In the next video, I'll be going over my coloring process, which isn't really much, you know. It's mostly just playing around with the colors and seeing what I can get out of them. Create some little latches here. It's a little bit better. Looked kind of out of place before. Most of you are probably cringing the whole video, just waiting for me to fix that. And I finally fixed it, so. not entirely sure if I'm sold on how I have the background at the moment. I may change it completely so there isn't really much of a background. Otherwise, I do plan on blurring it a little bit more later down the road just because I'm not enjoying it too much. Did something get moved there? Damn, I don't know where that was from. There we go. That was really confusing. That was like a tricky puzzle right there. Had that before, but usually I catch myself once I remove it, but let's see here. I'll do more rendering too once I actually lay in color. I don't want to go too much into detail right now, just because I know some stuff will change after I lay down color and whatnot. But it is nice to get as much rendering as possible down
it does make it easier once you go and actually try to color over stuff. Same goes for, I mean, traditional painting. Having that really refined underlayer really does help when you go and like glaze over and whatnot. Lining in some details on the hand here. Swords can be tricky when they're at weird angles. Sometimes your angles can get thrown off. Which I think this one's looking a little crooked, but just gonna try and get symmetrical stuff.
bring in some of this. Push some of this back. Throw in an adjustment layer here. I'm going to do some curves, medium contrast, just drop the opacity a little bit, just to bump up the contrast a little bit. And then I'm going to jump into color in the next video. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll have the next video up shortly.